Another video. My name is Hunter, and today we're going to get into one fantasy sleeper slash breakout player from every team in the NFL for the 2025 season. And I have not made a video in 6 months. I know I've been busy, but now I'm locking in for this NFL season. Before the season, expect all 32 teams to get their own preview, plus more fantasy videos. And I'm going to be cranking out this content because I love doing it and I am ready to make content for this season. And I want to make content that everybody can enjoy. And now I'm going to be back into it. Before we get started, like and subscribe to this video. So much more content, like I just said. I currently sit at 311 subscribers, and I want to get to 400 before the season starts. So help me reach my goal, and let's get right into the video. Starting with the Buffalo Bills, I have Keon Coleman as my sleeper. Last year, he had 29 receptions, 556 yards, 4 touchdowns. He's ranked 46th on ESPN Fantasy. And I think Keon Coleman is going to be a lot better in his second season, especially because he should receive an expanded role. I think he will become the wide receiver one in that Bills offense. He averages 19.2 yards per reception in 2024, which shows he has big play potential. Definitely a deep threat slash medium threat. And Keon Coleman is going to thrive with Josh Allen. I think this is the season where the second round pick from 2024 will break out, and he will be a very good fantasy option. For the Jets, I'm going Braylon Allen. He is currently the backup running back for the Jets, but last year he put up 334 yards, 2 touchdowns on 92 carries. He is the 57th ranked running back. And first, there is new coaching. Aaron Glenn comes in, he brings in people from the Lions, and the Lions system runs 2 running backs. And I think this could be especially helpful for Braylon Allen, who currently is the backup, and this could lead to more utilization and more usefulness as a fantasy option. But also, Breece Hall has been brought up in trade rumors. Him and Jets management are not on the same page, and I think Braylon Allen could potentially take over if Breece Hall is traded. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it has been put out there. So Braylon Allen is definitely an option to watch in fantasy this season. For the Patriots, I'm going TreVeyon Henderson. He's a rookie. Last year, he was at Ohio State, getting nearly 150 carries, over 1,000 yards, 11 touchdowns. He enters this year 28th ranked in the league on ESPN Fantasy. And he comes to a backfield where Rhamondre Stevenson is the lead back. He struggled with fumble issues over the last few years, especially in 2024, leaving opportunity for TreVeyon Henderson in this backfield. I think he will thrive in this situation. But also wanted to mention that Mike Vrabel coached the Titans, who were led by Derrick Henry at the time. Derrick Henry plays very similar to TreVeyon Henderson, in my opinion, and I think this is where TreVeyon Henderson could join that system and do very well. So he is a great option as a starting running back to start the season. For the Miami Dolphins, not much there, so I went Jalen Wright as my sleeper just because he is now in a backfield where there's less competition, which allows him to get a bigger role. He is now the backup to Devon Achane. If Achane wants to get hurt, Jalen Wright comes in, which is why he is somewhat useful. Last year, almost 70 carries, almost 250 yards. Not bad, but the flashes need to lead to more production in 2025 if he is worth getting in fantasy. The Baltimore Ravens, I have Isaiah Likely. We all remember that game versus the Chiefs last year where he went off and his toe barely was out of bounds and they barely lost that game. But the beginning of that season was the Isaiah Likely show. Mark Andrews was not playing well, and Isaiah Likely was a top tight end option at the time. When Mark Andrews caught on to his play later in the season, Isaiah Likely faded into the background. But I'm betting on him to produce more like the beginning of last season. If Mark Andrews is especially not on it, Isaiah Likely is definitely worth drafting in fantasy if he gets that play time. For the Cincinnati Bengals, I'm going Jermaine Burton, player with lots of off-field issues last year. But this year, it seems like he is locked in and ready to go. Training camp has been good for him so far, and it's seeming like if there was some issues with a Ja'Marr Chase or a T. Higgins, Jermaine Burton can slide in there and produce, which is important. He's a 92nd ranked receiver, which does not mean he's going to get drafted. But if you were to pick up somebody on waiver wire and there was a Chase or Higgins injury, I could see Jermaine Burton getting into that starting lineup and doing very well. Next, Caleb Johnson of the Pittsburgh Steelers, who dominated Iowa, 240 carries, 1,537 yards, 21 touchdowns, 27th ranked on ESPN Fantasy. He dominated at Iowa, and I can expect him to dominate in the NFL as well. He walks into a Steelers backfield where Jaylen Warren is really the only competition, and I think he will beat him out and be the Steelers starter week 1. He's an incredible option, and I think Caleb Johnson has lots of potential, and I would definitely draft him because the floor is high and the ceiling is also very high with Caleb Johnson. With the Cleveland Browns, I'm going Cedric Tillman, who had a very strong end to last season. He finished last year with 29 receptions, 339 yards, 3 touchdowns, 57th ranked receiver. And in that offense, it's really just him and Jerry Jeudy. And I am going to bet on Cedric Tillman to maybe not be the wide receiver 1, but to have a great year and to be worth potentially starting at some point this season in fantasy. Next, I'm going Xavier Worthy. Xavier Worthy is already an established top receiver, 59 receptions, 638 yards, 6 touchdowns. He had a great rookie year. He's the 21st ranked receiver, and he's going to take his game to another level. He broke the 40-yard dash for record for a reason, because he is a speedy receiver. You could give him the ball anywhere. You could run him the ball. You could throw deep. He can burn defenders. Xavier Worthy is going to potentially be a top 10 receiver by when this season is over, because I believe in his ability, and I think Mahomes is going to throw Xavier Worthy the ball a lot this upcoming season. For the Broncos, I'm going J.K. Dobbins. They brought him in from the Chargers, and last year we were talking about J.K. Dobbins could win comeback player of the year. He came back from all those injuries, and he was going off to start the year. He ran into a few injuries, but still ended the year with nearly 200 carries, 900 yards, 9 touchdowns. And at those stats at 38th ranked is a steal. That is why I would bet on J.K. Dobbins, who's joining a backfield who needs help. And Sean Payton is the type of coach that has used a player like Alvin Kamara, and I could see J.K. Dobbins being used in a similar fashion. The Chargers, I'm going another obvious option, Omarion Hampton, the first round pick. He has definitely high expectations, but he is so talented. 281 carries, 1,660 yards, 15 touchdowns with North Carolina. The 20th ranked running back, and he is going to have a great year. Harbaugh said that he wants to implement a strong running game. He has done that pretty much everywhere he's gone in his career, and Omarion Hampton is the key to that, because last year they had a committee. They had J.K. Dobbins, who I just talked about, Gus Edwards, but now it is all Omarion Hampton's, and he will definitely take advantage of that. The Raiders, I'm going one that is way off the board. I'm going Dante Thornton of the Raiders, a 4th round pick this past draft, but he is currently listed as the wide receiver 2. And if you look at his college stats, 26 receptions, 661 yards, 6 touchdowns, he is a good player. And if that deep threat translates to the NFL, Dante Thornton could be a surprise. There's always a mid-round receiver that shocks the world, and I can see that being Dante Thornton this upcoming season. So definitely keep an eye on him. For the Houston Texans, I'm going Jaden Higgins. He had a great final college season with Iowa State. He's coming into the league as the 59th ranked ESPN fantasy receiver. And remember, the Texans, they lost Tank Dell. He's hurt. They lost Stephon Diggs. He went to New England. And now it's Jaden Higgins who comes in as probably the wide receiver 2. And we know CJ Stroud is going to get the ball to this guy. He's a well-rounded receiver that can catch the ball and do a lot with it. And I can definitely see Jaden Higgins being a reliable option in fantasy due to my projections for the player this season, which I think he's going to do very well. For the Jacksonville Jaguars, I'm going Tank Bigsby. He took over the starting role when ETN was having some injuries, some issues with fumbling the ball, and he did very well. Tank Bigsby is a great player, and I think he's going to be getting the starting role this year based on training camp reports. And he's definitely an underrated fantasy option. 44th ranked on ESPN Fantasy. And for a starting running back of his caliber, that is way too low. He'll be available later in your draft, and he will put up great numbers. For the Titans, I'm going Tyler Lockett. This is a bit off the board. Obviously, Tyler Lockett is late in his career, but he's still putting up great numbers. Nearly 50 receptions for 600 yards and 2 touchdowns. And I'm putting him here because I think Cam Ward in his rookie season is going to need that veteran receiver to rely on. And I think that's Tyler Lockett. I think he's going to be that slot guy that Cam Ward is definitely going to rely on. And that's why I have Tyler Lockett as a sleeper for 2025. Last team in the AFC, I'm going Alec Pierce. He's somehow not ranked on ESPN Fantasy anywhere, despite having over 800 yards last year, only on 37 receptions, which shows that he is a deep threat. He had 7 touchdowns. And if Anthony Richardson is the quarterback for the Colts next season, Alec Pierce will have an incredible year, just like last year, and he will be worth picking up in your league. Now the NFC, I'm going Dallas Goedert of the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles don't have many sleepers. They're a very good team. Obviously, they won the Super Bowl last year, but 42 receptions, 496 yards, 2 touchdowns last year, and he missed 7 games. So he will be a key contributor if he stays healthy for the Eagles in 2025. And as the 15th ranked tight end, that is definitely a steal in your draft. For the Giants, I'm going Cam Scatbo. He had over 1,700 yards, nearly 300 carries, and 21 touchdowns with Arizona State. He is the power back. He will get you the yards that you need if it's 3rd and 2 or even 2nd and 2. He will get you that first down. He is just that type of player. And in that backfield with Tyrone Tracy, it will be a good combo. I also think he's going to be the guy that they use in the red zone and to get touchdowns. So he will be a very good fantasy option. And that is why I'm listing him as my sleeper. For the Commanders, I went Austin Eckler. I know he's a bit past what we saw in 2022 where he dominated. And I think he can still get back to that level if he does not get injured and he gets more carries. He only had 77 last year. I guarantee you Austin Eckler will have a good year and he will be worth drafting in your league. Dallas Cowboys, I'm going Javonte Williams. 513 yards, 4 touchdowns, 139 carries last year, and a backfield that had a lot of faces in it. There was lots of people in that Denver backfield. He goes in free agency to Dallas, who has needed a good running back for some time, and I think he's going to flourish. I think this backfield should be his. He should start over Miles Sanders, and I think this is where Javonte Williams can finally have that breakout that we've been anticipating for a few years at this point. So that is why I have him as my Cowboys sleeper. For the Falcons, I know Kyle Pitts, he's been a sleeper almost every year. You hear before every season, oh, Kyle Pitts is going to break out. Oh, this is finally the year. But I think this year is actually going to be the year. Michael Penix likes throwing to this guy. We saw it late last season, and we saw it so far in training camp. I think he's going to become the top tight end everyone thinks he is. Or he could be, and I think he will be. So that is why I have him as my sleeper for the Atlanta Falcons. For the Carolina Panthers, I have Bryce Young, who threw for nearly 3,000 yards last year. A questionable tight end to interception ratio, but everybody that watched the NFL late last season remembers that this guy went off when it mattered late in the season, and they gave him the weapons this offseason. They trust Bryce Young to be the guy that they thought he would be when they drafted 1st overall, and I think he will be. 25th ranked quarterback, I think he's better than that, and that is why he is a good option as your backup quarterback and could potentially take on your starting role on your fantasy team. For the Saints, I'm going Rashid Shaheed, who missed most of last season with a torn ACL, only 20 receptions, basically 350 yards, 3 touchdowns, your 51st ranked receiver on ESPN Fantasy. He looked incredible last year. We all remember that 2-0 start that the Saints had where it seemed like it was deep ball after deep ball from Derek Carr to Rashid Shaheed. And Rashid Shaheed comes back from his injury this year and should have a good year. Um, it won't be Derek Carr throwing him the ball. It'll be Tyler Shaw, but Tyler Shaw is going to rely on a guy like Rashid Shaheed to win some football games this year. And I think the New Orleans Saints top guy will probably be Shaheed. So definitely look out for him in fantasy. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Rachaad White. I know he lost the starting job to Bucky Irving, who is a great running back, but Rachaad White is just as good to get it back. I know it could be a committee backfield, but I think Rachaad White has the potential to really take off once again. We saw it a few seasons ago. He is a great player, and I would roll with Rachaad White to get back on track in 2025. The Packers, I'm going Tucker Kraft, who broke out in 2024. 50 receptions, 707 yards, 7 touchdowns, the 10th ranked tight end. He took over the tight end spot in Green Bay and was a key option for Jordan Love. It seemed like game after game, Tucker Kraft was just getting better and better. And going into this season, I think we have not even seen how good Tucker Kraft can be. I think he will become one of the top tight ends this season. He has shown the potential, and he really has emerged as the top tight end for Green Bay. So no snaps, no snap issues. It should all be Tucker Kraft just getting better and better. For the Vikings, I'm going Jordan Mason. At the beginning of last year when McCaffrey was hurt, Jordan Mason came in and was one of the best running backs in the league. And now, this offseason, he gets traded to Minnesota. He will share the backfield with Aaron Jones. And I think Jordan Mason will have the opportunity to take over the backfield. He is a younger running back. And last year, almost 800 carries when he wasn't even, almost 800 yards when he wasn't even the main starter. So, for sure, definitely a guy that can definitely take off and could be the steal of the draft if you take him as the running back 42. The Bears, I'm going Rashawn Johnson. Rashawn Johnson, he had 55 carries, 150 yards, 6 touchdowns last year. He had a limited role behind DeAndre Swift, but remember, the Bears brought in Ben Johnson, who he was running that 2 running back system last year. And if this comes to the Chicago Bears, it will be Rashawn Johnson. And it will definitely be worth picking him up if once we see how they do in the preseason, if they're running the 2 running back sets, if Rashawn Johnson will be the guy. So definitely look out for Rashawn Johnson in your draft. Detroit Lions, they don't have many sleepers. I just went Jameson Williams because I think as a 30th ranked receiver, that's a little low. I know he's the second receiver in that offense, but this guy has not even reached his peak yet. He had over 1,000 yards last year, 7 touchdowns on 58 receptions. And Jameson Williams is just a great football player. And I think we'll see that even more in 2025. Definitely worth drafting for your team. Now on to the final of the division, the NFC West. I'm starting with AJ Barner, who's not ranked as of right now. That will probably change by most people's fantasy drafts as he is a starter in Seattle. Seattle released Noah Fant, and the second-year tight end out of Miami should have a great year. 245 yards for 4 touchdowns in his rookie year. And this will be Sam Darnold's main tight end. And I think it will be very key for Sam Darnold that he will use AJ Barner, and I could see AJ Barner breaking out and being a steal for your fantasy team as a tight end. San Francisco 49ers, I'm going Isaac Guerendo. He is the backup running back there. But Christian McCaffrey, we know he's injury prone over his career. And if he runs into injuries again, Guerendo will step into the spotlight in 2025. Guerendo was the 3rd running back in San Francisco last year, but still put up 420 yards and 4 touchdowns on 84 carries. Really, Isaac Guerendo's a great player, and I could definitely see him stepping up if McCaffrey was to go down. For the Arizona Cardinals, I'm going Michael Wilson, who in 2024 had 548 yards for 4 touchdowns. The 58th ranked receiver, or 68th ranked receiver on ESPN Fantasy. Strong sophomore season for Wilson, and I think he has the potential to get even better as that second option, or maybe even a co-first option with Marvin Harrison. Kyler Murray likes to throw this guy, and I don't see that stopping in 2025. The final team the LA Rams, I'm going Jarquez Hunter of uh, Auburn, who is a late round pick this year. Very similar player to Kyren Williams, um, as he is a smaller running back, but he can run with power, and that's what type of running back that thrives in a Sean McVay offense, and we've seen it with Kyren Williams. So if Jarquez Hunter gets carries, which it seems like in training camp he's proving that he should get carries, he is an intriguing option for sure. That's going to do it for all 32 teams and their potential sleepers slash breakouts. If I missed anybody, let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.